I am recording.
I am recording. Ba, ba, ba.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the 614th episode of the Pokemon Podcast. It's super effective. I'm your host, Steve. With me is Hannah.
I am here. Yep. Hi.
Hello.
I'm in a different place. There are no Pokemon posters in the background yet. I have them ready to be put up, but I don't have the command strips today.
Different
so
place.
I'm
here. Greg, also here.
I am also here. I am in the same place. It hasn't changed. I still have this Elite Trainer box that I got at Costco that I still haven't opened because I don't know what to do with the cards once I open them. So they are sitting in there until I have a plan, which I
put them
don't
back
have.
in the Elite Trainer box.
Well, then I'd have to do something with the Elite Trainer box. So it's just sitting there right now until I have a better It needs to warm up so I can open all my doors and throw things out of my yard for things to get garbage. Like, that is the key to cleaning out my house, as I have to be able to have quick access outside to get it out of the house. Because otherwise I move it to the room, the storing room, to throw it out when it's nice, and then it just sits in the storing room forever.
Are you just going to throw the Pokemon cards out on the curb then?
No.
Okay.
But so I have so we have a futon from when we were in college. And so that thing has been in our house unused since 1994. It needs to go somewhere. I don't know where yet, but winter is never a time to make a decision of that has to go somewhere. It has to be warm so that we can get it out of the house. Because it may just be chucked off the back porch because I don't want to carry that frame down those stairs again. Which means, look, it's a whole process. It's a whole thing to get this house fixed again.
You just
and it has
burn
to be warm,
down the
and
house,
it's not warm.
And then you start over.
Yeah, well, that's also tempting.
You just start fresh.
Just start burn. I mean, we get those, hey, we'll pay whatever for our house as is. And every once in a while I was like, how serious are you?
As is. Well, speaking of starting fresh, there's a flower festival. By the time you're listening to this, it should be starting in Pokemon Sleep. We also have some Pokemon Unite news. We have some stolen Pokemon cards. Maybe Greg can relate to that ETB sitting behind him from Costco.
Don't tell anybody that I have it. I don't want to be ripped off.
And then it's unavoidable, but we have to talk about the Pokemon Go avatar update. So that also, I went to Disney, so I can tell you my Pokemon Go experience at Disney.
I went to Disney too a year ago.
Well, and you've played at Mall of America, so this is perfect.
I did.
Okay, let's start with the Pokemon Sleep Flower Festival. Okay, we got the 1.5 update. I believe that went through because there was maintenance.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what update we're on. I think there was also a mini update recently. We might be on like 5.0.1. Doesn't matter. The game updated, and they added new stuff as they prepared for the Flower Festival. Let's get the important thing out of the way here. You can now equip your icon as one of your shiny Pokemon, which I think set the very small Pokemon Sleep community, but very active. They set it on fire. They all loved it.
I need a Pokemon in shiny form that I like enough to be my icon.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have a bunch of stuff that I do not care about. Like, I could maybe put the Geodude up there, but
you don't want
keeping it as Sableye for now.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I like Geodude, but
Hannah, don't you love Lucario? Don't you have a shiny Lucario?
Yes, I do have a shiny Lucario. That is my current avatar there. I love it. I was saying Greg is still a Sableye. Just a non-shiny Sableye.
No,
but yes, as soon as I could set my avatar to my shiny Lucario, I did. As soon as the update happened, and as soon as I wasn't sleeping on a camping cot while moving anymore. There's nowhere to put
Pokemon Sleep
plus
experience.
there. No.
The camping cot.
There's nowhere to put the plus.
Greg, you just got to go to Taupe Hollow and get that shiny Sableye.
Look, I'm on... What is the fairy island called?
Lapis?
Yeah, I'm on Lapis because I want to try to get a shiny Ralts too. Look, every time I go to Lapis, I feel like I'm 17 years behind because I have to do all the events in Greengrass, and it's like, you're at Master Rank because you opened up the app, and then I go to Lapis, and it's like, good luck getting out of Basic, loser.
Lapis is tough.
I'm like, come on. Like, I think I just got to Ultra 1 today, and I'm like, you know what? Now there's another event coming, and I have to go back to Greengrass Isle.
You don't have to, actually. The new Flower Festival event is introducing Comfey. And there will be items you can, of course, buy. You can buy a bundle pack that has a Chikorita incense, a Comfey incense, an Eevee incense. One of them will include a Leaf Stone. I'm just going to let you guys know that Leafeon is not a good Pokemon in this game, so that's just bait at that point.
It's one of the ones they're highlighting, though.
Learn from me that evolved my very good Eevee into a Leafeon, because I didn't know at the time, the first 2 weeks of the game, that Eevee's skill changes when it evolves, and all the evolutions have different skills. It's the only Pokemon to do that, I think. Is the Eevee line
so far.
Yeah. Oh no, there's one other Pokemon. Gallade changes.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense.
So Ralts, Kirlia, Gardevoir is all the same, but if you change it to Gallade, there is, I don't remember what it changes to, but it is different. Comfey will be appearing at Greengrass, at the beach, and then at Lakeside Lapis. Those are your 3 options. There will also be a boost to Fairy and Grass Pokemon. And they mentioned in one throwaway line something about shinies, but it's really hard to decipher what they exactly mean through that. Let me see if I can find the exact line.
Yeah, that's not even in the news update.
Oh, yeah, here it is. It was the news article right before. It says, under bonuses, we will have 1 Pokemon will be hungry for sure. Your dishes will be set to salads. A few Pokemon will appear regardless of your sleep type for the day. Certain Pokemon are more likely to appear, which is the grass and fairy Pokemon that I just said. And then it says, you may meet certain shiny Pokemon. That's it. What that means, who
certain
knows?
Shiny Pokemon.
I would say you could do that technically every day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think we know what Comfey does fully, but Comfey, besides its fairy, and we don't know if it'll carry corn or something like that. Unsure. Probably by the time this goes up, everyone will know. But if you like Comfey, I don't think you care what it does. You probably just want it.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't care about Comfey, technically Igglybuff, Jigglypuff, and Wigglytuff are boosted on every island, except that Igglybuff is on Greengrass, Beach, and Taupe. And you want an Igglybuff, and Lakeside, pretty much everywhere that is in Snowdrop. You want an Igglybuff because then when you evolve it to Wigglytuff, the main skill goes up for free. So if you don't have a good Igglybuff, this is your chance to find one.
What if I have a shiny Jigglypuff?
You could get a shiny too. I do think this whole event is bait to make you waste your stuff before another legendary.
But you're just saying that because of the Leafeon, though.
Yeah, the Leafeon itself is definitely bait. Because Leafeon's bad. No, I think like if you are spending your points on Pokeballs and you're then using your Pokeballs on here, you're draining your points. So therefore, when another legend comes, you might not have enough points to get a Master Ball, or you might have enough points to get Pokeballs. I think the bait part of it is just not having enough Pokeballs. I mean, the easy solution to that is just spend money, but that's like the solution Masters is like, I'm saving my pulls for this character. Oh, I'm out of pulls. I gotta spend money now.
Except to a certain extent, Pokemon Sleep doesn't let you because they have that limit on how many Master Ball biscuits you can get.
Yeah, that's so rude.
They're stopping you from spending too much money.
I mean, let me have 2.
Can you not hold 2 Master Balls at the same time?
I don't remember. I don't. I have a bunch. It was like, no, you can't have that.
Yeah.
Oh, you can only purchase 1 a month.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, I think you can hold 2.
I don't think the event is bait. I just think you care more about legendaries than anything else in this game. It's what it's seeming like.
No, I didn't care about Raikou. I told everyone that Raikou was bad and not to waste their Master Ball on it. That's what I did.
But now you're saying save all your resources for the next legendary.
Yeah.
Because I mean, the game is resource restrictive. Like, you can't just like get a new Pokemon and get it up to like level 50 right away. True. Right? If I got a okay Charmeleon, I don't have nearly enough candy to like. I could get the Charmeleon up to 30, but then I can't evolve it to Charizard. But if I evolve it to Charizard, I can't get it up to 30.
Yeah,
if I did, I would have to go to Topalo, and I don't want to go there.
It's so good though. But this is a good event to get Igglybuff, like you said. This is a good event to. I would guess that one of the shinies they're hinting at is probably a higher chance of shiny Eevee. That's just a guess. That is definitely not anything they've said. But seeing as Leafeon is one of the highlighted Pokemon for this event, that would be a guess of mine. And I think people would be excited about that. I don't think this is a throwaway event. Plus, there's the new Pokemon. And we don't know how good Comfey is yet.
Bulbasaur should be boosted. You should get yourself a good Bulbasaur. Bellsprout would be boosted. Bellsprout is good. I guess like a lot of people started playing Sleep when Hannah and I convinced Bobby to play Sleep. So I'm just letting those people know what they should be looking out for. You should ignore the Clefairy line. You don't need that. Don't waste your biscuits on Clefairy. Metronome's just too random. Try to get a good Bulbasaur. If you're like, what makes a good Bulbasaur? You want skill trigger, ingredient finder, inventory. There you go.
Yep.
If you want a good Bellsprout very good. You want Bellsprout's very good at getting potatoes. So 1, make sure it can get potatoes at level 30. Same thing. You want ingredient finder. Literally what I just listed for Bulbasaur. Chikorita, super good. That's actually what I'm missing. Chikorita, you are looking for Berry Finder S. That's pretty much all you're looking for. Either at the level 10. I would say
it's good for looking for one with cacao too. That's one of my best cacao finders.
Oh,
is that line.
Yeah, cacao. But yeah, the main thing you're looking for on anything that is a Berry Finder, which is Chikorita, is just Berry Finder S. You want it in the first like 2 slots though, level 10 or level 25. I've been playing this game since day 1. I have 2 Pokemon at level 50, so keep that in mind. So if you have Berry Finder S at level 100, number 1, we can't even get to level 100 yet. Number 2, it's been 9 months and barely any of us have level 50. So, yeah, I was just looking at green grass stuff. Those are probably the top 3 you're looking for. Bulbasaur, Bellsprout. Sorry, top 4. Bulbasaur, Bellsprout, Chikorita, and Igglybuff. Those are your targets. If you don't have those. I still don't have a good Totodile either, but that's not boosted this week. I might go to Beach, because Beach does have the Chikorita boost.
Yeah.
No Bulbasaur on Beach, but I don't need that. Hard to say. I don't want to go back to Lap. Like, Lapis 2 weeks in a row is just brutal.
It is. It is so brutal.
Also, I got one Stuffle all week and it was bad. I just want a good Stuffle. Oh, the other thing they did about Pokemon Sleep is they changed breakfast from 6 a.m. to 4 a.m. I swear they're listening to this show because I complained about this. I also complained that Slow King was bad, and they fixed both Slow King and Slowbro, which is great. All that means for those that are not paying attention is both can get ingredients a little bit faster. Slowbro can get a little bit more ingredients than Slow King, but regardless, they fixed Slowbro and Slow King. They are better, which is awesome. But they did change breakfast from 6 a.m. to 4 a.m. So the day in Pokemon Sleep starts at 4 a.m. And the main reason they changed this is, one, it makes logical sense, although I don't know if that's why they changed it. But apparently people were time traveling to Monday morning, but it was still Sunday dinner. And so they were sneaking in an extra meal at the start of Monday. Because Sunday's already over, you don't really need that last meal because it might not change anything because you're probably master rank 10 or whatever. So now the day starts at 4 a.m. This is so amazing for me because I normally start my sleep routine at 3, and then I do my nightly TikTok, and then maybe it's 4 a.m. and I've been on TikTok for too long, and so I can give my Pokemon breakfast, then go night night, and then I don't have to worry about missing breakfast anymore.
I seem to recall you saying before that Pokemon Sleep had convinced you to start going to bed at 3 o'clock instead of 4 o'clock because of the day change over there, and now I think it's pushing you back in the other direction here.
Look, when I say I'm going to bed, it means I'm pressing the button and I am in bed. It doesn't actually mean I'm sleeping yet. I've just made it to the bed, which is a big start.
Which is a big thing. My sleep machine has been lying all week, and I'm very mad at it.
Lying?
Yeah, I hit that button at 11:30 every night, and then all week it has been randomly picking a time between 11:30 and 2 a.m. when it says I started sleeping. Yesterday, it picked 1:45 a.m., and I'm like, I was dead. I was dead to the world
do you not,
at 1 in the morning.
Do you not pregame your Pokeball Plus?
What do you mean?
You mean cheat?
No!
What do you mean pregame?
The Pokeball Plus needs, I think it needs like 9 minutes of no movement to decipher that you have begun sleeping. If it doesn't get that, it will still consider you're awake.
Okay, so but I'm dead. I am not thrashing around like a monster when I'm sound asleep at midnight. It has been primed for half an hour.
Wait, before I go on, Greg, when it is working for you, are you a slumberer or are you a dozer or snoozer? Like when you do get like a thing, are you? Because I'm almost always slumber.
I get all three. Again, it just like to randomly pick what I have.
Oh,
Is there a way to check what my last week was?
I am constantly slumber unless I'm like at a hotel, and then it's dozing or whatever.
I know I get dozing and slumber. I get them all. I see them all.
Okay.
I don't know.
So anyways, if you are having trouble with it sleeping, what you do is you put it on your bedside table for 10 minutes and then you move it to the bed, and then there will be no issue with it like saying you went to bed at 11:30 but it started recording at like 2 a.m. It's the first 10 minutes and like the last 10 minutes how it like starts and decides your sleep.
All right, sleep data. Will my sleep data tell me what kind of?
It should tell you what you got last night. I think I got slumbering last night. I think
I got snoozing last night.
Oh, okay, yeah. But you also said it didn't start it until what, like a couple hours until after
the night before. I got slumbering. So let me see: slumbering, snoozing. dozing.
I don't think I ever get snoozing. I think I always get
got
dozing.
3 snoozings in a row. I don't know why.
I never get snoozing.
I got doubles dozing. I got a balance type. I'd never seen that before.
Balance is when it's perfect. Well, not perfect,
It's not...
but it... Balance is just you have the option to get all 3.
Yes.
When
I look at the percentages, it says balance type, dozing 23%, snoozing 52%, slumbering 25%.
It's all relative to your previous nights.
This game. Pack of lies.
That is right, Greg. It is a game.
Pack of lies.
It is a game that encourages healthy habits.
No, it doesn't.
The game that's encouraging you to stay up till 4 a.m.
I would already be up till 4 a.m., but I am in the bed. It gets me to the bed at 3. Pokemon Unite, Greg. I believe
a lot is happening.
We are on Battle Pass 23, but ranked 19 or something like that.
Yeah, so it is season rank 19, which has brought in a bunch of changes. It is Battle Pass 23, which is a different thing than the ranked, and then there was a patch. What do you want to hear about first?
I have it in front of me. And then I think Phalanx comes in a week or so.
The 25th.
Right?
Yep. And
yes.
There will be a commemorative event to get Phalanx for free, I believe.
Oh. I have off the patch notes. Garbage King once again. We love Garbage King. They say Phalanx is coming. There's a Dragon Carnival event. There is shop update, event update, bug fixes, text fixes, and then they changed Zoroark. Looks like it got nerfed. Buzzwole got nerfed. Mega Mewtwo Y got nerfed. Machamp got buffed. Snorlax got buffed.
Yep.
Aegislash got buffed.
Yep.
Gyarados got nerfed.
It did.
Hoopa got
nerfed.
Buffed.
Nerfed, and it got
burfed.
It got a little bit of both. I don't know what they're doing with Hoopa yet. Hoopa's Trick has been buffed a little bit to make it a more viable choice, but I don't think Trick is that great.
Umbreon got buffed, kind of.
Yep. So Wish got buffed to make it a more viable healing support, and Foul Play got buffed so you can actually be a slightly better defender. But Umbreon still was always great, so we'll see how this plays out. I don't know why they did this one.
Azumarill got buffed?
Yep. Azumarill needed help.
Espeon got nerfed?
Yep, Espeon needed to be nerfed.
Meowscarada got nerfed? Eldegoss got nerfed?
Well, Pollen Puff got nerfed. One part of it got nerfed.
Yes. Cotton Guard got buffed.
Crustle got their Unite move fixed so that they won't get interrupted and it can't go into its Unite move, which is super frustrating.
Excuse my knowledge. I thought Leafeon and Buzzwole were the two threats in Unite, and I don't see Leafeon on this list. Not to be confused with Leafeon Pokemon Sleep, because Leafeon Pokemon Sleep is bad. Just Leafeon and Pokemon Unite, apparently very good.
Leafeon isn't that big of a threat. It's still good, but it's still very squishy, so I don't think they want to mess with that. It's also, so here's the weird thing. They put these changes in before Phalanx came out, which is usually not the way they do these changes. Usually they wait for the new thing to happen and then they rebalance everything. So this is it makes me think that they are trying to balance things right away so that Phalanx feels a lot better when it's released than it was before. It's also sort of weird that they decided to hit Mega Mewtwo Y when Season 19 EXs are banned and Master Ranked. So it felt like, I mean, I don't know why you're doing this now, but okay. I mean, all of these changes were needed. I mean, they are all to make things better and to diversify play. So I think they're all good. Like Eldegoss's Pollen Puff was OP. Everybody was just using it. So it didn't need to be decreased. I think Meowscarada needed to be nerfed because people were no longer wanting to play Leafeon because Masquerada did it better. It just was better at the job that Leafeon was doing. Espeon has been overpowered for a very long time and was a much needed change. This is all because of the big changes to Season 19. The biggest change is, again, EX licenses are banned in Master Rank.
Which people are excited about, right?
Yes, it's great when they're best. But the thing that people need to realize is if you're in Ultra Rank, and if you get paired with a Master Rank person, you'll probably not be able to pick EX licenses. People get confused because they are can be an Ultra. But if there's a Master Rank player in there, the EX licenses should be banned.
One Master Rank player out of the 10 would cause that ban.
Yep.
Huh. Interesting.
So there's one or more Master Rank players in the group, EXs are going to be banned.
So what you're saying is if you want to get to Master Rank, you use Zacian to get all the way up there.
That's what everybody does. They use the overpower one. Well, actually, everybody uses Miraidon right now because you can just melt things across the field. But then that all stops when you get to Ultra Rank. So you tend to run into a lot more Master players, so you can get up through the ranks pretty quick. But
yeah,
they're doing a big change to draft picks, which people need to understand.
Yeah, hit me with it. Because people were excited for draft.
Yes.
And then they rolled it out, and then people were like bummed because it didn't seem like it was accessible to a lot of people.
It wasn't. You had to be at 1400 Master Rank to even get into the possibility of getting into a draft match. So you could go and be 1400 and say, I want to get a draft one, and it would just never pop for you because there weren't enough people in there. So they're dropping it to 1200. So Master Rank starts at 1200. So the minute you get at Master Rank, you're at 1200 points and you'd be available for draft pick. Big change number one. Big change
That's the draft
number two.
I won in my life, the Pokemon Unite draft.
The big change number two is you have to have 14 or more Unite licenses.
What? What a weird arbitrary change.
It's not. And I'll explain.
You need to spend money to unlock more Pokemon to then be part of the draft.
So here's what was happening. People would get into draft pick with 10 licenses. 2 get banned. And only one person can pick the same Pokemon. So people were ending up at the last with nothing to choose from. Every option they had was gone, and they could not play the game.
Yeah.
They couldn't do anything. So you'd get to the end, and you're like, well, this match can't go forward because there's nothing I can play. And then the match had to be forfeit, and then you got into the same cycle.
That has to be such a rare thing, though, to be like...
Not if everyone's looking for the same Pokemon.
Yeah,
it wasn't. It was not as rare as they had hoped it would be.
What an awesome oversight, though.
Well, because people would play I'm going to play Mewtwo Y all the way up to the top to get to the Master Rank, and that they have 2 other licenses, and they're like, well, we're banning Comfey and Mewtwo Y, and they're like, well, I have nothing else to do, and I can't continue. So you now have to have 14 or more Unite licenses so that once everything is chosen and banned, you will have a Pokemon you are able to play. It will stop the fact that people would just be, I can do nothing. There's nothing here for me to do.
I do like
it's hilarious and bad, and it was just a weird oversight, but it was like when it would happen, you're like, oh, buddy. The good news is they did at least run the numbers, and it's like 70 or 80% of master rank players have 14 or more licenses. So it's not as big of an issue, but it was a big enough issue for people who are at that level, who only maybe played ever 5 licenses because that's what they were good at.
Yeah.
Would get in draft and be like, I can do nothing.
I think the concept of drafting is very cool. I love watching it when they do the tournaments on Twitch. I think like watching people draft and what they're picking and what they're banning, I think is just as interesting as like watching the match that's about to follow. That being said, when I come back to Unite, which I want to because there's a new Cramorant skin coming, I just want to play Cramorant. So, like, I think everything about the draft is so cool, but then it does require you, which I think is cool. I think it's very cool. It does require you to learn multiple characters and all that stuff. But, like, I just want to play Cramorant.
Well, here's the thing. I have watched a number of team building videos where people have been putting together a team and talking about it. And the conversation everybody has is, what are your 3? What are the 3 that you feel comfortable playing with? What's your main? And then what are your 2 backups should your main get banned?
Yeah.
And that's or chosen.
Or
so you always sort of have to have 3. Like, I'm going to tell you this. Nobody has been picking Cramorant lately.
I'm safe.
You're safe. I have had maybe 3 matches recently that a Cramorant was in it. So you're fine.
So what are your 3, Greg?
So my 3, so Eldegoss is my main. Zarina is my backup. Trevenant is my 3rd backup. Sableye, if I'm feeling like an absolute troll that day and I just want to make people mad, then I'm going Sableye because that Pokemon is not good. But it's fun. I can also play Mewtwo. When it was free, I was testing it out to see how bad it was. But again, Mewtwo is a point and hit the A button and you win. So like Mewtwo isn't hard to play. But if I can't do Eldegoss, then I go to Sarina. If I can't do Sarina, then I'll go to Trevenant. If I can't do Trevenant, then I might do Decidueye, although I'm really bad with the arrow. I am bad at aiming. I am not good at it. I always miss.
Yeah, I don't like the characters where you have to like Decidueye and Cinderace, those like more pinpoint.
Yeah, the controls to
more
get
accurate.
that are not great.
So what you're saying is Unite seems to be in a better place because of these updates, because of the draft getting lowered, and because EXs are banned.
Are banned at master rank. People will still say, I'm an expert and somebody's playing a Mewtwo. I thought they were banned. They are not banned in the lower ranks. They are banned when you get to master rank. They are banned at high level play. Also, they redid the entire start of the game. You get new licenses. You get new choices. They've gone back and revamped the new player experience. The menus are still bad. They are still awful. They make no sense. They are a hot, cluttered mess. Just go where a little red dot is, figure out if you need to interact with it, and move on with your life because there's not much else there.
Perfect.
And then the new Battle Season 23, which features outfits for Mew and Umbreon.
Yep. Got it. Okay. Let's get this last news article out of the way before we take a break. Japanese police arrest a 36-year-old man on suspicion of tampering with Pokemon Violet save data. That's a headline. Pulling this from IGN.
I like that their subline is Detective Pikachu, period. That's all they wrote.
Every time there's an article like this, it's always Detective Pikachu.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't been a fan of IGN's journalism lately, but they kept this short and sweet, so it was like good enough for reading here. Okay, so police in Japan arrested a 36-year-old man on suspicion of selling illegally modified Pokemon save data to customers online. This practice is banned under the court's 2019 Unfair Competition Prevention Act. I'm going to Japan soon, I think in 30 days. And I get this question all the time of like, Steve, would you live in Japan? And I think the answer is like, I could live in Japan and probably just fine. But I always feel like the people asking have not been to other countries a lot, because there's a big difference of like being a tourist for 2 weeks and then actually living there. There's like a lot of weird laws that you probably just are not aware of because you're a tourist and you've not had to experience that, or that wouldn't come across. This is just, I think like this is just a very interesting law that you just probably would not have heard of, and that also just doesn't exist in the United States. Suspect was apprehended, like this is a very silly law, but they were apprehended by police on April 9th after a police cyber patrol discovered evidence that an individual has used special tools to illegally modify save data for Pokemon Violet in order to change a Pokemon's moveset. A 36-year-old man was arrested for selling illegally modified Pokemon save data. They took custom orders for rare Pokemon and sold the results, tampering data between December of 2022 and March of 2023 for up to about $84 at a time on a website that served as a marketplace for video game assets and items. He also offered deals in which 6 Pokemon could be created for about roughly $30. So up some Pokemon would be $84, some would be less. You could get like a team of 6 Pokemon for like $30. The suspect could face up to 5 years of imprisonment and or a fine up to 5 million yen, which is about $32,000. And then, of course, IGN lists all their old articles about, hey, this is when we reported on somebody stealing Pokemon cards from a thing. So there's also, this reminds me of another weird law that they passed. When I first started streaming, one of the best places to get a 3DS capture card was from Japan. And they would just open up, I think they were called Katsu Kitty.
Yep.
So they would walk to a Toys R Us or what other big, there are still Toys R Us in Japan. They would walk to whatever store, they would pick up a 3DS for you, they would open it up, they would solder a little micro USD, and then they would sell it for $400 USD, which how much was a 3DS when it came out? 200, I think a 3DS was.
I think it was more than that, but not too much.
Sounds about right.
Maybe.
Like I think a 2DS was $199 and a 3DS was $250.
Might have been $250. Yeah.
Yeah. So a 2DS was like $380, $400.
It was $249.99 at launch.
The 3DS.
The 3DS. Yep.
Yeah. Gosh, it's been so long since
it
the
was,
3DS has existed.
2011. So
yeah,
it's been a long time. Anyways, so they would buy whatever 3DS or 2DS you wanted. They would get the little parts, they would open it up, they would solder it together, they would test it, you would buy it, you would send it to them. Japan passed a law that you couldn't modify hardware. So they have 2 laws that you might be unaware of. One is you can't do custom hardware orders, and that's why Katsu Kitty shut down. People thought it was like, oh, the Nintendo Ninjas came, or somebody. No, it was just they passed a law that like you can't, and they shut down instantly because of that. Now this guy was selling just probably very easily hackable Pokemon for $30.
Mm-hmm.
That does not stop anyone in any other country, US, UK. If you go on eBay, you can get yourself a shiny Charizard for $2.50. Do I think you should do that? No, don't.
No.
You're only encouraging bad behavior. Don't give those people money. But that is a marketplace that exists, is selling hacked Pokemon on eBay. If you've ever gotten like a Zacian.net or a Machamps.com Pokemon traded to you from Wonder Trade, which if you're listening to this podcast and you've done Wonder Trade like 5 times in your life, you've probably gotten one of those 2 Pokemon. That OT just leads you to a Facebook group, and that Facebook group wants to sell you more hacked Pokemon. That's all it is. And really, they've gotten the science down to, is it easier to trick people on eBay or is it easier to trick people on Facebook? And the answer is it's easier to trick people on Facebook. They know what they're doing. They know their Facebook audience is, oh, we'll believe that.
I have run into them in my random raids now.
Scarlet and Violet raids?
Yep, where it says name.com.
In the trainer name, yeah.
Oh, wait, not like
the trainer
Pokemon
name or the Pokemon name.
Yeah, because I've had people join my raids and they're using like a Zacian. It'll say like I don't know what it would be. It would be like a Iron Hands, and it would be like Zacian.net. What's funny is they're always
bad.
They don't know how to do the raid.
they are always not showing. They are not doing proper customer service, because if you want to sell your brand and website, you should be the top carrier in that, and not the thing that dies every 2 seconds. That is not good for your brand.
What you guys are paying. First off, stop paying money for Pokemon. If you need an Iron Hands, join our Discord. We'll get you an Iron Hands. We have plenty of nice people that have extra Iron Hands. They'll get you one. Number 2 is I've never met a Zacian.net that just didn't know how to play the video game.
Yeah, it's been bad.
Like, it's a nightmare situation. Hopefully, look, I don't think you should be selling Pokemon, whether you're a Japanese person or an American person. I hope this person does not spend 5 years in prison for selling a $30 Incineroar.
Yeah.
I don't know fully what the 2019 Unfair Competition Prevention Act is. This whole website's in Japanese. I can't read this.
There is a translation. It's just a little hard to parse.
Yeah.
At a glance, at least.
You mean legality stuff is hard to read and understand? What?
Hey, I'm somewhat used to it, but it's all mixed in with the Japanese every other line. A little hard to skim.
Next week, Hannah will have it all figured out. She will read all 20,000 pages. And she will decide if this man should be in prison for 5 years. If you need Pokemon, don't pay for them. There's plenty of options out there, and there are plenty of trainers that have so many extra Pokemon, and they're very willing to trade you. I promise. Just don't buy Pokemon. Well, I mean, buy the DLC, of course. Give. No, you don't even need to buy the DLC to get the Pokemon. You can still transfer them from home or trade them. Okay, let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about all the changes to Pokemon Go. So we will be right back. And we are back from our break. Pokemon Go. They launched a Rediscover campaign, which has 4 steps. The first one is rediscover yourself. And boy, are we going to rediscover ourselves this episode, that's for sure.
I didn't.
But when this goes up, Rediscover Your World should be live or around the time, because this podcast goes up on Monday, which is the backgrounds that some people were getting. And then that will also be Rediscover Kanto, which is another Kanto event. And then finally, the week after, or a little bit more than a week after, would be Rediscover Your Reality, which is the changes to Go AR plus. I don't, whatever they named it now at this point. Just add a couple pluses and you'll be there. Which I believe is the reason why the current AR got changed. And then this new AR, you'll be able to like put 3 Pokemon in a picture, which is like really cool for people that are into the photo. Bobby. I totally get this campaign though. Like, roll your eyes at another Kanto event. Me too, I get it. But like, to redesign your character, to redesign the backgrounds, and then to promote Kanto Pokemon, they're just trying to get new players. Like, I get the marketing. It makes sense. Like, what brings people back? If you were like, oh, I haven't played Pokemon Go in 6 years, it's like, oh, the characters are different, the backgrounds are different, Charizard's in the game. Like,
Yeah.
I totally get the marketing. It makes sense. I don't fault them for that, because like, that's not a Niantic issue. That is just the Pokemon company as a whole relying on Generation 1. I get it. That like the Rediscover, like it doesn't bother me in the sense of like, Kanto again. It's just like, I see what you're doing.
It bothers me. I don't want more Kanto. There's been
I'm not
too many Kanto events.
How many times do we have to discover Kanto before we are firmly aware that it's there and what's in it? None of us forgot. It's the first gen. We know where it is.
I still need another 100 tiny Rattatas. Bring me the Kanto. I need to finish that medal. No, I mean, like, I don't mind an event where I can go, I can skip this week. Okay. Rediscover yourself. Express yourself like never before with a new range of avatar customization options in Pokemon Go. Personalize your avatar's adjustable body weight, eye color, skin tones, new facial expressions. I don't remember those. And hairstyles. Hairstyles can now be filtered by short, medium, and long. You can find the perfect do for you. If you included more than 5, then maybe, yes, we could get behind that. A new selection that allows you to customize your avatar's body with choices for weight, muscle, shoulders, chest, and hips. They're definitely lying about the hips. We'll get to that. Advance your color options with more skin tone, hair, and eyes. Oh, that's what they meant by like eye color. Yes. Yeah, you can change your eye color. And then, which is nowhere near here, they decided to randomly add belts.
No. They're just new for you. They've been there for my character the whole time. You just have access to them now. Belts and chokers have been there the entire time.
Oh, they just weren't for the men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
what?
Yeah. No,
this is mind-blowing to me. Wait, you guys have always had belts and chokers?
Yes.
Look, they have belts and chokers, but we have pockets. So let's decide which was more useful.
Wait, did the... mind-blowing to me. Wait, did the men have... the male bodies have anything that the female avatars not have?
I don't think so.
Just pockets.
I was so excited to see that we got belts. I was like, oh, cool, they added belts.
No, they finally just...
No, those are super old. Those are almost 8 years old.
This is crazy. I don't think I've ever seen a...
That's because they look bad.
Yeah, they do look
People
bad.
do use them, but
yeah,
not
I've
as
never
much.
seen anyone have a choker on. But you guys have always had
been there.
chokers?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I think that's one of the first things I put on my character because there wasn't much customization at the beginning, but you could put those on.
Wow.
So they're not new.
All right. Well, take that off the list. I thought Niantic was adding something extra, but I guess not. I was trying to think of the positives here. I was like, belts and chokers, guys. The positives.
You tried.
I don't know if I want to start. Greg, tell me, you can. I have no clue what Greg thinks about this character customization thing. So, Greg, you can start here. How do you feel about rediscovering yourself?
Have you ever just watched a person just fail spectacularly, and all you could go is, "Hey, at least you tried, buddy." That is how I felt when I went in there, and I'm like, "Oh, okay. I mean, thanks, but every option makes me look worse." Like, I don't know what half these sliders are supposed to do because I can see no actual change. Why are things clipping all the time? Okay, well, I'm definitely not going along here because it seems to clip through everything. And what are these face types? Like, it went from like a normal looking face to like 7 options that did not look human to me. And I was like, I have now gone so far into this, I don't know how to get back to how I used to look at. So I'm just going to pick something that I don't hate, and I'm going to be fine with it. It's not great. At least it wasn't. You didn't have to pay.
At least it was free.
At least it was free.
Oh.
Hannah?
I really like it. Yeah, I mean, I was scared because everybody was having such negative reactions to it, but then I went in and started messing with it, and I think I am one of the people who has found that this can actually make my character look more like me. I feel like my avatar looks more like me than it ever has. And I really like that. I'm also somewhat convinced that if there had just been more hairstyles, and if the hairstyles had worked with all of the hats better, half of the complaints would not be happening. I don't think they look that bad. I think most of them just look really different, and the hair makes a big difference.
Mm-hmm. Also, you can't do facial hair still.
Yeah.
I have seen a very small amount of people with Hannah's perspective. And I'm not saying that's wrong. I think this goes for any character customization in any game. If you can make yourself look like you, then it's good. And I think the problem that you're seeing is people feel like they can't make their character look like their character.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And that's not to say, I want to be very clear before we continue this conversation. Just because I am saying that this new one is bad, I am not saying the old one was good. That's not to be confused with that.
Yeah.
It's just like when Elon Musk took over Twitter and changed it to X, it was bad. But that's not to say that Twitter was like a good product before that.
Right.
Twitter was still a negative, terrible place to be.
It was a net negative that you made worse.
Right. Like,
but I don't think these avatars are worse than the old ones. I don't know. I think they're different.
I think they are for me, because there are certain clothes that I liked, and I can't wear those clothes anymore because those clothes look bad. Like when you texted me, Hannah, with your avatar, I was as surprised learning that belts and chokers were always in the game, but I was surprised that your avatar looked like you. I was like, holy cow, yours looks like you. I wish I could do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that actually made me more upset.
Oh no.
That like, wow, yours looks good because it looks like you. When I saw it, I was like, dang, that's you. And then I'm like trying to like put clothes on I like, or like change the muscle stuff. And I'm just like, I wish I had that experience.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the frustration other people are having, is like, gosh, I just wish I could get it to a point where I'm like, okay with it.
Yeah. I mean, that was my experience where I was just like, I am clicking through these body types. They don't really, they all look a little weird on each head. Like the heads aren't really matching the body size, and I'm having troubles like getting that to match right. And like I can't get that to go. And then I'm using these sliders, and like from the front I can see nothing. I turn it to the side and I can sort of maybe see that there's a change, but like I every time I change something, I'm like, I'm getting I'm getting further away from the familiar, and I now can't even go back to the familiar because I don't even know where I was that I started there. So I'm just going to pick something that I guess is fine, but it's not me. And that was sort of the point. Like, I can't put facial hair on. I can't change those things. I can sort of maybe get my body shape, but my head is not the right proportion to the body that I'm making because I really can't adjust that. I'm going through the faces and they get smaller and weirder and rounder, and I can't really control that. So it's like, I can't fault a free thing. I can't fault them for trying to do something, but it felt half-baked to me. Like, well, we'll get a certain amount of people, but not a lot of them. And those who get it will love it, but those who don't have it are going to be like, why are all of these things bad? And why can't I have long hair that doesn't clip through my shoulders and what doesn't clip through these hats? Like, these are fairly, like, to be fair, that is a huge problem in a lot of them. Like, Final Fantasy hair clips through everything, and it is a major complaint in that game all the time. And my character, being a cat dad, can't even wear hats. I'm not allowed to wear hats. I'm forbidden from wearing hats. So, like, this is a common problem, and I know that it is a huge issue. But these don't feel complex enough to have that much in the way of clipping. They don't do a lot.
Yeah, I think the clipping also bothered me a lot. Like the hat default that I go back to is like the Sylveon headband. There's just like my favorite headband. I thought it like looked the best. It is different than the other headbands, like how it sits on your head. And first off, like the amount of hairstyles is so incredibly limited. I was shocked of like,
yeah, the hairstyles are bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like this, like we only have like there's only what like 9. There's and I think 2 or 3 of them are like designed for people of color, which is like totally cool. But like as a white dude, I don't need to be rocking like a fade sick fade top. I don't know what that hairstyle is called. I'm so sorry, but like it's not like a white person haircut. So like that is already out the bat. I don't have long hair, so that eliminates that. So really, there's only like 2 haircuts I can wear, and one of them is the original starting haircut, which is fine. But it no longer the Sylveon headband no longer looks like it used to look. It just looks bad now when I put it on. So I can't even wear the Sylveon headband without being like, oh, this looks terrible. So like the lack of hairstyles was like really weird because you can't change the head. And I think Greg is right, and that's why the body stuff is kind of weird because your head doesn't change. So if you like make yourself more muscular, your head looks tinier.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, why would there just not be more hairstyles? There's just not a lot. So there are more hair colors and there are eye colors now, and that's good. And they must have changed something with the shading engine because I feel like the more I sat with this avatar update, the more angry I got. And the more I like looked on Reddit and Twitter and in our Discord and our Slack and talking through people with Twitch and comparing old and new, like the shading is just different. And I think that's what makes like like just looking at your character weird. Like there's not this stylized shading that the old system had, but also like things are not as colorful anymore. Like everything's like slightly more muted. Like the white skin tone looks like you're a ghost, and there are more skin tones, but like none of them like it Monster Hunter did this. Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, I think, where you would pick a skin tone in the character creator, and then you would go into the game and it would look totally different because the lighting in the game was different than the lighting in the character creator. And that's how I'm feeling here, where like in the option, when I'm looking at the colors, the little circles, I'm like, that is my skin tone, and I click it, and then my character looks like they died, like they're pale white, and I'm like, but that's not the color that you're showing in the little circle thingy. Like, I guess I could go darker, but that circle doesn't seem to be the one. I think it's a lighting issue, though. Which Pokemon games? Play Scarlet and Violet if you would like to look at lighting issues.
No, thank you.
It does, like, I guess I'm just so dumbfounded how that I can't imagine one person worked on this, right? Like how does a group of people work on this, and then another group of people go, yes, let's push that through. Like, it feels like a good start. Like, I think the sliders are great. The adding more hairstyles is great. Changing eye color, weight, muscle. Surprised there's no height, but like, I think it's such a good start, and more options are better. But it just felt like, how did so many people go like, this is prime time, this is ready? Like, it just it feels like,
I mean, that's
what we're
all
showing.
Niantic features.
Yeah, I know.
That's every single new feature,
and it's going to be ready in a month or two. We're still tweaking it. We need some feedback. What happened to the feedback?
Yeah,
they rolled this out to characters a month. Like, Bobby had this like a month ago, and what happened to that feedback? Did they not trust that feedback? Did they not have time to implement that feedback? Like, I don't think.
I mean, it feels like a rush deadline to me in a lot of ways, and it feels like it could very well be that a lot of the feedback was negative, and they're just like, well, we are in no way going to be able to make all of those changes when the deadline we have stated is going to happen, so we are just going to push it out and apologize later, which is exactly what they've done. It's hard. Like, it's hard to sort of judge what is the better course of action, pushing something out that gets a negative response and then doing the PR of fixing it, or pushing something out that's flawless from the beginning. Like, I don't know which has a bigger weight to it. Like, I think that's very hard to determine. Because I think, like, to Hannah's sake, there are a lot of people who had a very positive experience with it. And I think they were expecting that to be over the halfway mark. And I do not think it's there. I think if you have very specific things that you can recreate in there that are easy and they don't cause the problems, it comes out brilliant. But I think that's a much smaller percentage of people than they were hoping.
Also, people who are angry are louder. That's always a thing to take into account.
Oh, yes.
The people who are pretty satisfied with this, I think, are a lot quieter.
But that's
I know that it's not just me.
Oh, yeah.
But I know there are issues. I know they don't look amazing. I think a lot of it's that they're just different, but there are some issues.
I wouldn't say some. I would say there's a lot of issues.
I would say there are three things they could do to make a lot of people happier. They could make more hairstyles and make the hairstyles clip less so they could fix the hair. They could make the head adjust proportionally with the body. And they could add a waist slider. And I think that those three things would make a lot of people much happier with this update.
I would add a fourth, which is like the lighting, because everything does seem duller. Like, I've seen side by sides of just shirts, and they just look muted.
Yeah.
And that kind of sucks. And that especially sucks if you spent money on the game.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I bought this original Stitch Lady Ba shirt because it was bright and red and colorful. And in the new one, it doesn't look good at all. It looks bad. I didn't buy that shirt, for the record, but like, seeing that side by side. I mean, I felt that way with like the Sylveon headband. What was it, like 100 Pokecoins, $1? And I literally can't wear it right now. It just looks terrible. And it's weird because the more I customize things, or like put clothes on that I had, they did address some clipping. Like if you like I never bought the chain wallet jeans. It's the jeans with the chain wallet attached. And I was excited when they announced it, and I never bought it because it clipped with a bunch of stuff. And you can try it on. So I tried it on to see if they fixed the clipping, and they did with that specific item. If you put boots on, the jeans will actually tuck into the boots. And if you put shoes on, it will go over. So they did look at that to an extent, but then there are other items that just completely clip through or don't work, or like when I put the screenshot I posted on Twitter where I put the Sylveon headband on and like the hair just like frizzled out. It just exploded on my character's head, and it was like, there's only like 9 haircuts. There's not a lot. How did you guys not see this?
Yeah. Although I will say, there is at least one item that I have seen someone complaining that their arms are clipping through it. No, that was just the female top style that's supposed to look that way.
Oh, like the shoulders are exposed.
The Pumpkaboo one, yeah. Yeah, so some of it is that people just aren't used to these clothing items, at least a little bit. And I do think they fixed some of the clipping with the pants and the shoes. I tested out a lot of the pants and shoes that I had issues with, and I do think there's less there. Yeah. But clearly this was an update that they had planned to happen with this event, and when an update is planned to happen with a scheduled event, it's gonna happen.
Which is crazy, because the next thing that's coming is the new backgrounds, and they look so good. They look fantastic. And I haven't seen like when some people were getting the new character updates. Like I remember Zoe Two Dots got it, and I looked at her character and I was like, whoa, like why does it look so bad? And then when I've seen screenshots of the new backgrounds, I'm like, dang, these look so good. Like the city background, the beach background, they look fantastic. How did the same company do both of these?
Someone can be really good at drawing characters, or someone can be really good at drawing backgrounds, but the same artist can't always do both.
Right. But like there has to be somebody above them that approves it. And for them to be like, yes, like the background's good to go, and then this character, maybe they did think more people were going to like this than not. But I feel like when I think of big issues in Pokemon Go, which there's always like something wrong with Pokemon Go, right? Which is fine, whatever. But when you actually like look back in the last 7 years of big issues, you think about the remote raid pass stuff. Which that was a price increase and a item limit. And I think even if it didn't have an item limit, because you're only allowed to do 5 a day, you would still have the same backlash of the price increase, which is from $1 to, I think, what is a remote rate pass, $1.90. They should like 10 cents cheaper than $2. But in that instance, that was not the majority of the player base. That was a very active player base that spent a lot of money every day. Like I am just shy of hitting level 50 in Pokemon Go. The only reason I haven't hit level 50 yet is because I want to do it in Japan. And I'm going to Japan in like a month. So could have been 50 a little bit earlier. But I probably give Pokemon Go $15 to $20 a month on average, just based off what I buy or what I upgrade. I would argue that most people that are level 50 are probably hardcore players. It's very hard to get to 50 without spending money, without playing a lot. I talk about it all the time. If you just jump into a raid at like Mall of America or at a community day, just look at how many people are not even level 40 yet. and this game has been out for almost 8 years. Like, some people just play on commune days. Some people just play on the weekends. Some people just log in, catch one Pokemon, don't play again, right? So, as a hardcore player, I was only doing like 3, maybe 3 remote raids a week before the price increase. Like, I just wasn't remote raiding that much because I didn't care. Like, I didn't want to give the money. I didn't need to get another Tapu Bulu. I already got the shiny a while ago. I don't need to do any more. Like, if it was free, I'd do it. So, like, I'm not invalidating those people for the remote raid price increase. I get why they were upset. That was their favorite part of the game. If they wanted to do 20 remote raids in a day, that's $20 a day that some people were doing. I get it. I don't have that kind of money. That's not how I want to play the game. But if that is what you enjoyed, those people were very, very vocal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the issue before that was the raid, the Pokestop distance. I feel like that was the other big issue.
The interaction
and
distance. Yeah.
And Niantic went back on that. They changed it for the pandemic. They then changed it back. People complained, and they reverted it. And then before that, or maybe around the same time, was the Mega stuff. The Mega stuff was pretty bad and terrible, and they revamped the entire thing. And that was maybe the most positive I've ever seen Pokemon players on social media. Was like, oh my gosh, the new Mega stuff is really great.
Again, that's the hardcore players, though.
The Mega stuff was hardcore.
Most people I know still don't Mega for almost anything.
100%. Yeah, you're. But I'm probably. What was another big issue? Those are probably the top 3 that I remember: Megas, the Pokestop distance, raid passes.
Those are definitely the ones where people have been the most vocal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And this, I feel like, is in the top 3. Like, something's getting bumped out.
But
and
people are vocal for different reasons on this. There's a lot of toxicity coming out with the vocalness on this update alongside all of the other feedback.
Yes, there are definitely people being negative in the wrong ways, for sure. But I think that, like, when you cannot look like yourself, or where you feel like that character doesn't represent you, I feel like that's a real easy way to walk away from a game. And this has nothing to do with money, right? Like, when you bring up the Mega stuff, that was technically money, technically raids. When you bring up the remote raid pass increase, again, money, raids. Like, logging in for community day, or going out, or just checking the game every day, and then looking at a character that you're not happy with, is a really easy way to push you away from a game, I think. So I do actually think this is a more serious issue than some of the other issues that Niantic has done.
I don't disagree, but I also don't think that fewer people can look like their avatars than they previously did. I think that the sudden change is tricky, but I think that the old avatars also weren't characters that people could look like a lot of the time.
I think sort of the difference is the old avatars weren't presented as a very customizable experience. It's much like when you would play old Pokemon games and you got what the default thing was, right? Like, that was the experience going into Go, and there wasn't a sense or it being sold as make yourself look like you. And when they add something that is supposed to change that dynamic, that is going to hit harder than you only have these choices, and these choices are universal for everybody. they don't look like anybody. That's a different messaging and a different emotional experience than you can make yourself. Spoiler alert, no, you can't.
Yeah.
And if you can't even get close for some people. And I think that is, I think to Steve's point, that that messaging that underlines that disconnect hurts a lot.
Yeah, I think of Final Fantasy XIV, and I don't know if Greg can relate to me in this, but when I played Final Fantasy XIV, and I have 3,000 hours in Final Fantasy XIV, and I stopped playing completely. But of those 3,000 hours, I played as a Lalafell, which is like a little potato that you run around the map. Very cute. I love my Lalafell. And a Lalafell does not look like me, right? I just want to be very clear. If you're watching the video version, I do not look like a Lalafell. But I loved my Lalafell. I loved the way I made him look. I loved the clothes I put on him. I loved that little wand he carried. And I made like a bet with somebody over something. It was just like a harmless bet of like, whatever. I lost the bet, right? And so my penalty was like I had to change to a different character. Very harmless, no big deal. In Final Fantasy XIV, there's a thing called Fantasia. It's like $10. You change your character, and they were already introducing a new character. They were introducing the, I think the cat people at the time. It was like right after they introduced the lizard people. It was like because I think Greg's a cat person.
I'm a cat dad, yes.
Yeah, so it was around the time of the cat person, and I was going to change to that anyways. But I decided like last minute I wanted to change to something else. I don't even remember what it changed to. It was like the elf character or something. Or maybe it was a cat person with a tail. I don't remember. But I changed to that character, and for the first like hour, I was like, this is cool, like somebody different. And then the more I played it, the more I disliked it. And I desperately tried to find new clothes, and I went back into Character Creator to like maybe change the hair or the eyes. And I was just getting frustrated because there was nothing that I really liked. Now, again, I don't look like a Lalafell. I also don't look like a cat person. But there was like a separation of like, this doesn't feel like me. Yep. And because of that is actually when I stopped playing Final Fantasy. I stopped logging in every day. When I did log in, I would immediately go into Character Creator and try to like change something to make it better. Now, the people are like, Steve, why didn't you just change back? This was over like a week period, and I was going to change back. I was just like, there's going to be a sale in spring for Fantasia. Fantasia is normally $10. It usually goes on sale for $6. I'll just wait like 2 more weeks. It'll be fine. I'll get the Fantasia then. And I didn't make it that long. And I went from logging in every day to logging in every other day to like, Fantasia's on sale. I didn't even log in. I missed it. And then I stopped playing. And I think that's a very relatable experience to people who would be playing Go, because that's a free game. Like the barrier to entry for Final Fantasy a little bit higher. You got to pay $15 a month. And I'm not. I guess the point I'm making is the character doesn't necessarily have to look like you. You just have to relate to it in a way.
And it's interesting because Final Fantasy has spent the last year and a half, because they are updating all of the character models, and they have spent a year and a half trying to get it right. Like there is so much, like that game understands how much you identify with your character. And they have been putting out preview after preview after preview to say, here's where we are, here's where it's going, and getting that feedback, because they fundamentally understand how important it is that you have that connection with that character. Like people are like, are you going to change, because, cat ladies are coming. And I'm like, nope. I am very happy with my cat dad. I can't wear hats is the only bummer about it. Like
there justice for your hats.
Yeah, I can wear glasses, which is fine. I wear my glasses. And I can also wear full helmets to cover my head, but I don't like that because I like seeing my head. But like when they did male bunnies, I was like, I like Fiera of the race, but like they all looked depressed. They all looked like sad boys, and I was like, nope, this isn't for me. I don't want to play a sad boy bunny.
Oh, I think I was originally going to change to the bunny. I forgot all about that. Maybe it wasn't the cat. Maybe it was the bunny.
It's probably the bunny. Sad boy bunnies. Well, because it was bunny girls. Sad boy bunnies came because it was bunny girls and cat dads during that release.
I
and
remember.
They finally released boy bunnies, and now they're finally releasing girl cats, which I just call the lesbians because they all look like lesbians to me, and I love it. And there should be more of them in there. But they are the thing about what they understand is like it is going to be literally 2 years when the expansion comes out and all the new faces are. That is how much work they put in to make sure that with a graphical update, you go and look at your character and you think, I still am myself. I just look refreshed. And that did not happen here. This one is very much, I don't look like myself. And now I'm in a world where people are able to look like themselves, and I can't even get close. And that's a huge problem.
Also, I don't think people would be as mad if this came out a year after Go debuted, not 7 years after. Like, we waited so long for this, and it fell flat for people. Now Niantic is aware of the backlash. This is off .esports. After facing backlash of the new Avatar update in Pokemon GO, Niantic confirmed that it is aware on how the community feels and is taking feedback regardless of the changes. The update came on April 17th. Less than 2 days later, Niantic has acknowledged that a very vocal dismay of its player base is reaching out to ask for They are reaching out to ask for feedback on Avatar changes, which is being compiled for the team that works on Pokemon Go. We are sending all your feedback to the product team and the folks who worked on the Avatar system. We're taking this very seriously, and we really appreciate you sharing your candid personal opinions. Niantic said to the Pokemon Go hub. Look, I said on the show that I was in a meeting with Niantic 2+ years ago. I wasn't even living in this house. It was a different house, and they asked us what feedback we had, or they were like, if we were to do an Avatar revamp, what would you like to see? And a lot of the things are there. You know, it was let us wear anybody's clothes, which that was like the first thing I did was like there was like a female only pair of pants. It was just literally cargo pants. I don't know why the males didn't have a set of cargo pants, but like as soon as the thing opened up, I was like, oh man, these pants look great. Like I'm putting these pants on. I don't know why they were female. They're just cargo pants. But I was like, cool, I got a new pair of pants for free. So that was like it was like wear any clothes you wanted. I hear that there's belts now for male characters.
Well, that's part of wear any clothes that you want.
It was more hairstyles. It was heights. It was weights. It was a lot of the foundation that you are seeing now. And there was people, including myself, being like, fix the clipping system. It sucks to buy like a shirt for $2.50, and then the shirt doesn't work with the pants that you spent $2 on. Like, that's frustrating. And it's like they took, I don't know, this is just my opinion, but it's like they took like the bare bones of those conversations and were like, we did it. But it wasn't, I don't know, it's like they missed the like how people connect with the character kind of part.
Yeah.
And more feedback has been given. I mean, Niantic asked on Twitter for feedback. They asked creators again. I gave my feedback. Other creators gave their feedback. It's the feedback you expected. Like, I read a lot of the feedback too. I was like, I'm wondering if people are saying things differently than what I am saying. And if you ignore the toxic feedback, which is very easy to ignore because those people suck anyways, and you just look at people who genuinely care about the game or care about wanting people to feel like themselves, the feedback is all the same. It's, hairstyles, it's my body looks kind of weird, we need more sliders, it's the skin colors look weird, it's my stuff isn't as vibrant as before. It all seems fixable for sure. Like, it doesn't seem like they need to scrap what is there and start over. It just seems like they need to fix what's currently there. It seems like a fixable problem.
It's just a question of how quickly they can fix it.
Yeah.
And whether
Pokemon
they will
Go
lose
Fest
people.
is very soon.
Yeah.
And we know that's a priority for them because that's their busiest season. Which is probably part of the reason why this is like, well, ship it now because it's working and it's good enough. And Go Fest is coming up, and we need all hands on deck to make sure that Go Fest works 100% because that is our money for the year. Like that's not a secret to anyone that summer is what makes Niantic the most money.
Yep.
On the plus side, the new backgrounds look great.
I don't think any of us have them yet, but all the screenshots I've seen look fantastic.
Yeah. So, anyways, the reason I brought up the remote raid passes and the mega stuff and the distance, Pokestop distance, is those were all times where Niantic said verbally, "We hear you," and they said it here again. So
we'll see.
We'll see what that means.
Yeah.
I mean, for the Pokestop thing, that was literally just a button click that they had to do.
Yeah.
For the Mega thing, that took almost 2 years?
I think so.
And then for the remote raid pass thing, that was also just a button thing. That was, we hear you. We just don't care. But that was like John Hankey or whoever higher up there. That was their value core or ethic core of like, we want people to get out and leave their house. That wasn't like, that was just like community butting heads with Niantic's core values of like, we don't want you to play this game at home. Where this specific issue has nothing to do with that, at least.
Yeah.
This is
just a half-baked new feature that is just like all of their other half-baked new features, except it affects everyone all the time, anytime you're looking at your game. Yes.
I do know there are some people that do not care about how their character looks. I get that. I think those people are the minority. And there are definitely games I've played with which has character customization where I don't care. Like Elden Ring, that character customization was so advanced and so in depth that it was like overwhelming. I was like, oh my, like I do think about that of, I understand that there's a balance of making a character customization thing that is simple enough for people to mess with it and do it, but also not make it so complicated where you look at it and you're like, no thanks. This is way too. And then when I saw Elden Ring, I was like, this is very cool that that's here. I'm going to put a helmet on. I'm never going to see my face. It'll be fine. We'll move on. If I was to redo Elden Ring, I would actually probably spend maybe more time with it because I do genuinely like that game.
Half the game time is in the character creator. If it doesn't take you at least half your playthrough to make your character, you're not playing that game correctly.
I have watched people get into Final Fantasy and spend 4 hours in Final Fantasy 14.
That's what I did.
Making their character.
Yep,
Everybody
I'd spent
knows
an entire evening the first time.
the real end boss of Final Fantasy XIV is your glamour dresser. That is the end boss. That is your life. When you get to the end of that game, it's all about finding the correct outfit.
But this isn't even like an us as a community issue. Like Niantic always touts character custom. They've always touted. They're always like, you can see people in raids. You can see the person you're battling. Like when you send the gift, you can see what Pokemon's standing next to them. Like it is part of their game. It's not like this was a new thing. They've been pushing this for. They also sell clothing, so that's part of it. But they've been like, it's not like this was like a surprise thing where like we want you to care about your characters. They already established that with the very basic character we had before. It was just we were very limited with options, so we just learned to deal with what was there. And now some people can't navigate that, myself included, of like, I just can't find something that fits me at this point. And a lot of the reason why I bought clothes was because I felt like those clothes fit me. Like, oh, sweet, jeans with a chain wallet? That's me.
Yep.
Like if there was like an avatar holding a skateboard, I'd be like, I want to buy that because that feels like that feels like that fits me. That's what I want. That doesn't exist yet. If it does exist, Niantic, well, I'm not giving you any money until you fix the character customization. But once you do, if you add a skateboard pose, I'm in. I'm interested. Hey, if you're watching on YouTube, comment what you feel about the character customization. Again, I do know some people like it. And
there's one person on this podcast that
one
does.
person, but the person on this podcast, their avatar looks like them. Like,
Yes.
Did you tweet your avatar at all?
I didn't
Hannah?
yet. I will
Your
after.
avatar literally looks like you. It is crazy.
I knew exactly what to do as soon as I saw the customization options and
They,
got
like,
it immediately.
They like had your haircut to a T in that game already.
Yep, I got lucky.
Yeah, I would like to hear how you feel about Avatar, or if you don't play Pokemon Go, if there's a game with a good avatar system, comment which game had a good character customization thing for you. I can tell you right now, it's not Monster Hunter. maybe World got better, actually. World Arise, I think, was much better than 4 and 3. Anyways, well, that's our show for the day. I think. Oh, actually, hold on. We can talk about one more thing. I went to
Disney.
This is the bonus. This is if you clicked off. This is the bonus part. I went to Disney. I am not a Disney girly. I think Greg is. Greg big on Disney. Shout out to Chelsea, who works at Disney. She got me in for free. I didn't realize how expensive Disney was until I walked there, and then I looked up at the sign to a price of a ticket, and I was like, oh, I don't think I would pay this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, which park did you go to?
I went to Epcot first, and then that was going to be the only thing I was supposed to, because I don't like rides. And I was only going to do Epcot, but then my dinner plans got canceled. And I was like, oh, I guess I'm free for the evening. So then we went to Magic Kingdom to look around. But the point being is part of the reason I wanted to go to Disney is because people were telling me that Disney is one of the best places to play. And I will say it's good.
Mm-hmm.
It is not better than Mall of America.
No.
And one of the reasons I can say that is when I sat down in the China pavilion, because Epcot is broken into countries, and I ate orange chicken. The most American Chinese meal you can have. Orange chicken.
You went
I love
to that one?
Oh, well, I don't know. It didn't have a line.
There's a reason. If you go to an Epcot restaurant and it doesn't have a line, there is a reason, because that food is bad.
I thought the orange chicken was pretty good. Anyways, when I sat down to eat the orange chicken, I caught everything, and then nothing else spawned. And that doesn't happen at Mall of America. If you sit in any of the like 4 food courts, Mall of America, and that's 2 food courts, but there's like a lot of restaurants in between, you will get constant spawns your entire meal.
Mm-hmm.
You will just always get spawns. So I think the interesting thing about Disney is it's bigger than Mall of America, obviously, and it's more spread out. But I do know that Disney complained to Niantic the very first year the game came out, and there was a bunch of stops removed. But the spawn density, which is like the amount of spawns you see regardless of if there's stops or not, is just not the same as Mall of America. Like, it was very easy for me with Disney being lured up because it was Heracross Radar, so almost everything had a lure. For me to have an incense, for me to have Palkia on, I could catch everything and be like, okay, well, we got to keep moving. I caught them all. That does not happen at Mall of America. It is impossible. If you have Palkia, incense, everything is lured up. There's just so many Pokemon that it's just you just can't catch them all. Even if you had the plus going and you're manually catching, you can't keep up.
Mm-hmm.
Mall America's busted good.
Mm-hmm. It's also easier to maneuver. There's only so many places. There's one circular path that you will take through Mall of America every time. And Disney gets convoluted with how you have to get to places. There are crowds. It isn't easy to move through Disney if it's super, super busy.
Yeah. And you would think, though, that like the other thing is, like, when you're at Mall of America, even for like something that's not as exciting as a Heracross raid day, the raid's filled to 20. And if like Greg and I are playing together and Greg gets in one and he's like, oh, mine's 20, and I'll jump in another one and it'll be like, oh, that one will go to 20.
Mm-hmm.
There was never a raid at Mall of America that went to 20. But I actually don't like fault people for that, because like I would assume if you're like a season, this is just me guessing, if you're a season pass holder, you'd probably go to Disney to be like, this is a good place to play Pokemon Go, right? But if you're like me, who's never been to Disney, and if I was to pay for my own ticket, which I didn't, I would be like, I need to pay attention. I need to get the value out of this park.
Yeah, actually be having the experience that you paid for instead of just having it be a location you paid to go play Pokemon Go.
What I did when I was there is I would play while I was waiting in line for a ride. And I think that's what most people do, because what else are you going to do for an hour and a half? Like, you are in these lines for an incredibly long time. And so I think one of the weird things about the Disney experience is, unlike Mall of America, which is people are there to play pretty much constantly, and they are always interacting with the app. I think the app is hit in very specific spurts by very specific people. And then you'll get a certain way into the ride when you just don't have good cell service anymore. Like, you just don't. You just aren't. And there's other things to keep your attention. And once you get close enough, like, you kind of have to pay attention to where you're being directed. So your phone goes away and you have to start storing things and getting ready to actually do the event that you're there. So yeah, it is definitely a big place to play, and there's a lot of people there. But I also agree. I don't think it's better than the sort of targeted constant spawns of Mall of America.
Yeah. Yeah, I think some people think that like Pokemon spawns are related to the amount of stops, because there are a lot of stops at Disney, a ton of stops. But like, go to a Walmart parking lot. There will probably only be one stop, but you will probably get like a ton of spawns, because it's just based off cell phones. It's just like how some people live in an apartment, and some apartments have a ton of stops because those people are probably not connecting their mobile phone to their Wi-Fi, or maybe they just don't have Wi-Fi. And then some apartments might not have any spawns, because usually the apartments that don't have any spawns are the apartments offering free Wi-Fi for everyone. As just what it comes down to is like how many phones are. I don't remember how often Niantic refreshes the cell phone map. I think people used to figure out when they would do it, and I think it just refreshes every now and then. Last point I want to make. This has nothing to do with well, I guess it has to do with my job. I get this comment like once or twice on a YouTube thing of people saying that like, why does Steve always bring up that Pokemon paid for this? Or they, like last week I was like, hey, I went to regionals, just a heads up, Pokemon paid for my $14 ticket. I know it's only $14, but I do have to disclose this. This is I legally have to.
Yes, you do.
So everyone does. I know that some of you guys are maybe on TikTok and you're seeing stuff, and people on TikTok do not disclose. They need to legally, like they should. And there's a lot of creators that don't, or there's a lot of creators that don't think they need to disclose because it was valueless to them. This is off ftc.gov. Financial relationships are not limited to money. Disclose the relationship if you got anything of value to mention a product. If a brand gives you free or discounted products or other perks and you mention one of its products, you need to disclose even if you were not asked to mention that product. Don't assume your followers already know about your brand relationships. This is why I bring this up, because not everyone listens to every episode. This might be their very first episode of the show they're listening to. Make sure your disclosure... Make sure disclosures, even if you think your evaluations are unbiased. Keep in mind that tags like likes, pins, similar way of showing your brands or products can be endorsement. If you're posting abroad, U.S. law applies if it's reasonable or foreseeable that the post will affect U.S. consumers. Foreign laws might apply. If you have no brand relationship and you are just telling people about a product you bought and happen to like, you do not declare that you don't have a brand relationship. There's more on this page. That's all I read.
Oh, yeah, no.
ftc.gov. The gov does not Zacian.gov, ftc.gov. These are legal requirements.
And FYI, a lot of people are very bad at doing that. There's a lot of people who should disclose who do not.
So even if you got something for free from a company, let's say that like regionals was free, but the Pokemon company gave me a media pass. So like it was still free for me to go, but they gave me like a media pass. So whatever, I could carry a camera, or maybe I got access to a special room. You still have to disclose that. And if this is a YouTube video or a podcast, which it is a podcast, so I'm going to verbally say that. If it's a YouTube video, there's a little button you have to check that says like paid promotion.
Mm-hmm.
That paid promotion is even if it was free, you need to check that, and it needs to appear in the upper left-hand corner. The amount of creators that don't do that is alarming because they don't feel like that is something of value to them, but it is legally from the Federal Trade Commission. You need to disclose that. Now, I'm not a snitch. I'm not a tattletale. I ain't going to go out there and tell you who's not doing what. But for the people that are like, Steve, you don't need to disclose that. No, you do. I'm just trying to do it properly. And I'm trying to maintain relationships with people. And also, I don't want the FTC or the government to come after me. It's just very easy just to, in a casual conversation, say, hey, Pokemon paid for my $14 pass. I'm just letting you guys know. Let's continue the conversation now. That's so easy for me to do. And it's very transparent. And I would like to be transparent with people, especially if they're listening to the stuff, if they're supporting in some way or another. If you made it to the end of this podcast, you are supporting this podcast, and I appreciate that. So there's your little social media 101 lesson at the end of this episode.
Being a human is complicated.
Now I'm going to spend the next hour trying to make my character look like me.
I tried.
All right, we will see you guys next week. Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Hannah. This has been another episode of the Pokemon Podcast, and we are
super effective.
Super wondering what the spawn density is like in Disney and Mall of America compared to a Go Fest. That's where does Go Fest fit in the scale there?
I've attended all three. next time.